Rami Khoury, artist from Syria, basically a sculptor. I work recently I've been working most with clay and ceramics. During my study, it was one of the most material we used because it was easy to learn sculpting and making shapes and forms. But I feel attached to this material, like this relationship when you work with the clay. Like I had a strong contact with clay, and I like it as one of the oldest materials. Very natural. It has its own character. Sometimes it leads and I follow. Sometimes it surprised me with some results I didn't expect. It's very old technique to burn or to fire ceramics, and we use natural materials, organic materials. We had a pit in the ground at the farm here, and but it was kind of magic process. Besides functional ceramic, I was making like free forms or sculptural artistic pieces of clay. I used clay, and because this workshop was started as a pandemic as a pandemic workshop or art residency maybe. So, and the situation we are all now living in, like all these new terms that came up, we started hearing like social distancing or isolation and separation sometimes, like and in the first place, stay home or the notion of home, it was in my mind for a long time. I have been working on it, but in this workshop I made more works that really connected to these ideas like home and isolation. So I built several homes, several sizes, and everyone has something like, I can say, everyone referred to one of these terms I talked about. That, like social distancing, I didn't agree a lot with this term. I was more comfortable with physical distancing, and social distancing can mean a lot of things. I'm still thinking about it. I don't have a big, or I don't have the final installation or composition, but I would like them to be like a part of a city or a town or whatever, but like a part of a community that's being. But there is some connection or some dialogue between them. Maybe I use other smaller objects or forms to make this more visible, the connection between them, I mean. But I'm still thinking about it. I think they would be like spreading or standing, making a dialogue between of them, or sometimes a block, or what is it, like a disconnection between some of them. Like maybe starting by explaining a bit about clay, why I would like to work with the clay, or why I would like people to have this connection with clay. I think it's going to be a nice experience for people that are like used to or not familiar with the clay. I would like to keep it up. It would be nice to have this energy in the gallery, and I don't like to guide or to tell them what to do, but maybe I will show a bit what I have already done before this workshop, and sometimes we don't know what we get. We might end up with an amazing non-professional small work or some amateur try or attempt to make a piece or something. And sometimes it can be very inspirational.
So all of the stuff is coming from all the loppies in Sweden. And I think one of the things that's been quite interesting with my relocation here is, because I've been working in the design space and actually working as a commercial designer as well, like selling the textiles that I have been making as a designer. But coming here, I've been questioning a lot, like two things. Like one has been, whenever I go to the loppies, I just see so much consumption and like things that people are just like leaving there, or just, I don't know, like there's just so much that people are buying. But then, and then I started asking myself, is it actually necessary for me to add on to that and like make more things? Like, do I want to be part of like a society that's also promoting that consumption, and how do I want to work and navigate all that spaces? So that's the first thing. And I think that the second thing was, it's been a lot about questioning my aesthetic, mostly because as a South African person, as like someone who's coming from the continent, like the way we maybe approach design is so different from Scandinavian design, and Scandinavian design is like world-class design, etc. So, and the aesthetic is so different from what we do, like in terms of color and being more vibrant and patterns and all of that. And like I buy Swedish design magazines and it's just like gray and white. So I've just been questioning a lot, like my own self, like what is my role in this? Where do I fit in, as a somebody who's creating, and how do I want to actually proceed? So I've been going to the lobbies and taking some of the stuff, but of course also with all that's been happening with the Black Lives Matter, it's kind of like you sit down and you reflect, because every time you see that stuff on TV, it just raises so much trauma, and really thinking about the imagery that we put out as creative people or as artists, like the kind of images that we see, because I'm really just tired of seeing videos of violence and people being, I don't know, like black people being treated this way. And so I think it just got to a point where I was like, I think we need collective healing. And for me, textiles has been a very therapeutic thing. So my creation process has just been like, it's just really been about healing myself and looking a lot at symbolism, like the Afro comb, and like looking at more like symbols of pride and like black culture, and working around like with that, and like weaving just finding time to just try things out and explore. And so I've been working a lot with symbolism and like looking at like all the things that the Black Panther parties were doing during the 60s, and like the positive stuff that they were doing, like school project feeding schemes and all those things, because I just feel like we dwell so much on the pain and I'm just tired of it. I need to heal myself because I cannot handle all this, what's going on anymore. I mean, African is one of the symbolism that's associated with black pride or black culture or black aesthetic, and I've just been thinking about those kind of symbols of like, what are the things that, what are those things? Is it through music, I don't know, it's James Brown, I think, and it's like, I'm black and I'm proud. And like, I really am in the search of like looking for things that make me feel proud as a black person. And what are our symbols? What are the things that we own and fully own without, the like being told how to own them, or that kind of thing. So it's just like a lot of symbolism. So with this, for example, textile it's all these symbols it's like a language from the Congo, but how I'm gonna make it is like with green and black, and I can show you quickly the painting with like a green, braid. I've just been playing around with that, you know. It's like, and this is known as the Pan-Africanist flag, the colors. So the green is for the land, and then the blood, and then this is for the skin. But it's just looking for symbols of Black pride, and yeah, and that's, I think, what I'm kind of like exploring in like text. And I was also working a little bit with this piece, which I'm also it's quite an interesting one. So this is graffiti. I mean, I'm exploring it, I don't know, but I was imagining making like a quilt. And this is like all the young people, all the young Black people. You can see Breeze's name is there. All the young people when I was young who were proud of who they were, and they really took pride in Soweto and in Cape Town, you know, like in the townships, created opportunities for themselves and not necessarily waiting for the person from outside. So they used to create all these like movements of like hip hop parties, poetry, culture. They created cultural spaces for themselves, and it was really beautiful. And I would say like pretty much everything that I am, I learned from the hip hop world in South Africa when I was growing up. So I was just imagining, also like questioning who deserves to be in a museum, you know, because I feel like they should be in some kind of monument, you know, because they played such a huge role in the contribution of the culture in South Africa. So that was what I was kind of like exploring with this one, and I'm still figuring out. But also, again, the reason why I couldn't actually pursue and like take it forward is because I don't know quilters in Sweden, and you know, and I wasn't sure where to find material, where to go, where to start. So yeah, it's all those things. So I'm just like, but like just making and healing myself through the process and reflecting and all of that.
Kvinnor som varit viktiga för mig, intellektuellt sett, som jag känt att jag har haft ett intellektuellt samtal med, som Rosa Luxemburg eller Virginia Woolf eller Simon Weil, men också historiska figurer som vi ser på väldigt många statyer, som Athena, som också är gudinna för hantverk och så. Det har varit ett sätt också under coronan faktiskt att få jobba med händerna i någon slags andra arts and craft. Det har varit väldigt fint att få vara en slags materialitet. För vanligtvis säger jag inte det i mitt konstnärskap, att få jobba med bilder och få vila i det har varit väldigt viktigt. Just under den här utställningen i alla fall. Ja.